All right. Welcome back to Eyes Open Media. Hope you guys are doing well. Like, subscribe, and share. And thank you guys for watching the video. Man, oh man, oh man. Some of you guys are watching and you guys are looking at this, the title of this. Oh my goodness gracious. This is something I talked about. I predicted. I even said could happen in the future. If they cannot resolve Fayad, right, what they should do is if they can't resolve them, and the reason why they can't resolve them is because the corrupt people are threatening to kill Abdul Mahdi. What they could do is what I said was that they could accept Fayad, right, but in exchange for the rate, in exchange for the central bank governor, in exchange for the breakthrough in the system, right? So that cancels out Fayad. That's exactly what I said weeks and weeks and weeks ago, all throughout November and December. I said if they're going to keep Fayad, because that's not a break in the government, but the break in the government can still happen if they accept Fayad but remove the central bank governor Ali Alak and put the guy or girl that they believe is going to be able to then lift the value and free the country immediately, right? And change the rate and then give out the oil revenues. If they do that the same time they swear in Fayad, it cancels out Fayad, and that is still a break in the system. So let's go into the article today. We got a lot to talk about and some good things here in Iraq already this week. Starting out, Benny said it was going to be an awesome week. That's what God told him in Iraq. So let's see what happens here. It says Sadr's group, okay, accepts Fayad against the post of the governor of the central bank of the Tamimi pair. Now, the reason why they're saying Tamimi because they want Tamimi's husband to be the central bank governor. Now, Tamimi is a finance lady. She knows all about finance. You guys know on Currency 365 and this channel for years and years, Tamimi has always talked about dropping the zeros and showing the reality of the country. At some point, I think Maliki's group took her words and spent them in a couple of articles, and they said Tamimi's not for the deletion of 3 zeros, and then she came back and that's a lie and things like that. We want the small notes out, the coins and everything. So Tamimi was for that. She's been for that, freeing the currency up, removing the program rate and things like that, and getting the government freed up. So I don't know if she has corruption behind her or not. Most likely, those people that have been in Congress, the Parliament for a very long time, have some type of corruption behind them. But she has been speaking. We have been having her back about about the rate and about the central bank governor, about the situation going in Iraq, and she's like, man, free the people and free the currency, man. Come on, right? So they want her husband in that position. All right, so it says here that political sources reveal early on Monday the approval of the alliance of others backed by the leader of the Sadr's movement, Sadr, to take over Fayad as interior minister, okay? And then they're saying that the alliance of Sadr's, backed by the leader of Sadr's movement, al-Sadr, agreed to pass Fayad, but in exchange, right, the construction candidate of the Minister of Interior in exchange for the position of the governor of the central bank. Boom. Bingo, right? So that's what I've been saying. If they're not going to get a deal, then you need to break the system by removing Ali Alak, right? And putting the person that you believe that will come in there immediately and break the system. So if you want Fayad, right? If they want Fayad, the corrupt want Fayad, how do you manipulate that? How do you remove Fayad from even being a corrupt person and keeping the proxy government going? Is by removing Ali Alak and removing the program rate and breaking the system at the same time. So that's what Sadr wants to do. So if they can't, because this can't go on forever. They have to pass the cabinet of Iraq. They either have to pass it or they have to remove what's his name, Abdul Mahdi. Abdul Mahdi has to either pass his government or his cabinet or be removed. And if he doesn't, if he can't get Fayad passed or remove Fayad, then they need to then give up the central bank, because that's where the money's at. That's where the wealth's at. And so now the corrupt's going to have to make a decision, because they know the central bank is the reason why they're still in their positions, right? The central bank is the key to everything. It's the key to the wealth. And Sadr's saying, I want that central bank, because I don't care what if Fahad's in the government. If I got the central bank, I control the Iraq, right? So if I got the central bank, I control Iraq. I can give the people their wealth. I can distribute the lower notes and small notes. I can free the country, even if Fahad's in there. It cancels out Fayad as a corrupt person if I break the system with the central bank. Right, so that's what I said that could happen if we can't pass Fayad. That they need to cancel him out by breaking the system of the central bank. Okay, and that's going to remove the proxy of Ali Alak out of there. Put the person that you want in there, and Sadr wants the husband of Tamimi. Okay, Magda Tamimi. Okay, and if you guys don't know who Tamimi is, some of you guys remember her. There she is right there. You've seen her in many of my thumbnails on Currency 365 in the past years. She's been always talking about the finance, dropping the zeros in favor of small notes and coins, gold and things like that. And her husband's probably the same way. If she's still saying it, her husband's probably the same way. He would come in there. He probably knows what to do, because she's been in finance forever, and her husband probably has too. And he will go in there and he would cancel out Fayad by breaking the system. Okay, and removing the program rate and doing all that. So I don't know how familiar he is with the system, though. So that would be something to get used to. I don't know how familiar he is with Dr. Shabibi's system, because it took Ali Alak 2 years to really get a hang of it. He was struggling in the beginning. Same thing with Turkey. Turkey was struggling as well. It's a complicated system, and so I don't know how that would happen, but Dr. Shabibi could easily walk him through the dropping of the 3 zeros and getting everything out there in that case. Okay, so that's Sadr's group. That's what Sadr and them are coming up with. They're debating on that. They're going through the motions on that. They're deliberating on that. And so their only conclusion right now is Fayad is not going to pass, but they're not going to stop bringing him up. And they're not going to be able to get into parliament because people are not going to show up because Fahad's on the list, or because they don't want to vote for Fayad. So they're never going to get a quorum to vote on these names. So we just pass Fayad, but we eliminate him by controlling the money. The money is what we must control. The good guys must control the money. Now, I'm not saying Sadr's a good guy, but in this case, he's a good guy against Fayad and Maliki and them. Okay, so he's a bad good guy, right? So control the money. He needs to get the money so he can give it back to the citizens. Okay, and so if you're corrupt, you're gonna be like, I'm not going to take that deal, right? I don't want that deal if I'm corrupt, because I know how important the money is to me, right? If I don't control the money, if I don't have my puppet in there, Ali Alak, even though Ali Alak's doing a great job, he still hasn't raised the value, though. So as long as he doesn't raise the value, he's on Maliki's side. That's how they're thinking, right? So as long as he keeps delaying the raising the 3 0, he can do all the good things he wants. He can win all the awards he wants. But as long as he doesn't raise that value and remove the program rate, he's still on our side. Okay, and that's probably how Maliki and them are thinking, and that's how Sadr and them are thinking, like, yo, you're not raising the value, you're not giving the purchasing power, regardless of what you're doing, you're still a proxy, you need to go, okay? So that's what's going on now. All right, so I hope you guys understand that. Let's go on to the next. And it says here, now this is for the reformation, the Reform and Reconstruction Alliance, okay, which is led by Hakeem, okay, and he also has his own coalition, which is it the Victory or Wisdom? I never can remember which one it is. I think it's the Wisdom Coalition. Okay, now they are saying that they're close to removing Fayad from the candidacy, and they're going to accelerate the completion of the cabinet. So they're saying something completely different than what Sadr and them are doing. So Sadr and them came out of the meeting with Iran and said, we're going to accept Fayad, but we want the governor of the central bank to be on our team. Okay, so we can control the money, and so the reform and the reconstruction is saying we are moving to remove Fayad, and he won't be the interior minister, and we're going to bring new names, but we're going to hold those new names. We don't want nobody to know about these names and yet until we come back into the parliament, because remember, parliament is on vacation again. Okay, so parliament went on vacation on Saturday, January 26th. You guys know that already. Okay, so, and they failed to complete the cabinet, but they do have names. The reform and reconstruction need to talk to Sadr about this, because they don't want Fayad, and they don't want them in, because the reform and reconstruction means, technocrats, means that you're going to reset the government, right? Corruption cannot exist. Proxy cannot exist, right? Quotas cannot exist. We're only with technocrats and good guys, okay? That's a reform. That is reconstruction. That is resetting Iraq. So Fayad does not work in that mix, okay? He's evil. Evil should not be among the resetting of the country, okay? So they're gonna have to talk to Sadr and his crew about that and see what happens. But it's amazing that Sadr is exactly talking about the same thing I did weeks and weeks ago about a way to make it work if you are going to have no choice but to put Fayad in. You cancel him with the central bank, right? And the break in the system, all right? When freeing your currency. That's how you'll cancel him out, okay? But we'll see how it goes from there. Let's move on and finish it up here with the rest of these articles. There's another big one that I did post on Instagram Currency 365 is my Instagram. Some of you guys go to my Instagram and you'll follow me, and then you'll unfollow me very quickly if I talk about when I talk about, like, I get a lot of unfollows when I talk about the elites, right? If I make a comment about the elites, and so people will unfollow me, but yet you guys are subscribed here on Eyes Open Media, and I talk about the elites all the time. You guys are subscribed to me on Currency 365, and I talk about the elites every single day on these channels. And on Instagram, I talk about the elites maybe once a month. But yet, every time I talk about the elites on Instagram, people just unfollow. So it's very, very weird. And but yet you guys are subscribed to me on YouTube. So I just think that is weird. I get a lot of people that follow me, unfollow me, then weeks later they'll follow me, unfollow me. Like, it's weird. Like they literally are going post to post on what I do to unfollow and follow. And that is very, very weird. That is very weird. Okay? I mean, going from every post. I mean, I've had people unfollow me just because I said one of my friends from high school, hey homie, like, and they think I'm sleeping with her, or like it's one of my friends from high school, but they are so, like, every post is like under a microscope, it seems like, and I would have people unfollow because of that as well. So it's very weird. I try not, like, in the beginning I was like, what's going on with Instagram? But I just try to keep that out of my mind now. So I just do what I do. I don't care about people's reactions anymore on Instagram because it would drive me crazy. I just do what I do and I let it be. Okay, so I'm just letting you guys know. Okay, let's go here. So the global economy is on a hot plate. A crucial week awaits the world. Okay, so we were if you guys watched Benny's video, He was talking about this week for Iraq, this week for Nancy Pelosi. Something was going to happen with Nancy Pelosi this week, so we have to watch out for that. And big things were going to happen in Iraq as well this week, so we just got to watch out for that. I know big things are happening in Venezuela and all around the world as well, and the uncertainty of the government of America as well is looming and things like that. So, anyways, we'll just continue to watch. It seems like every week is a big week for the world now. And this was something I posted on Instagram here. A session of Iraq to the International Organization of Securities Commission. Okay. Now, this was awesome to see. Okay. It says Iraq guarantees to the International Organization of Securities Commission, stressing that this step will contribute to attract investors to Iraq. The real attraction to Iraq will be removing that program rate, nothing else. Okay, just to let you guys, be on 100 on that one, right? But this will also, it says the ascension of Iraq participating, starting from January 2019. I guess they didn't mention it here, but it would also, I can't remember, or they'll do that. Let me scroll down. Yeah, there it is. He added that the process of joining the membership of this organization will allow Iraq to join the world market and emerging markets. There you go. So to be able to join the world markets, that's what we want Iraq to be, right? The world market and emerging markets. That's where we want Iraq to be on both markets. They'll be able to join both markets. And how? Because that you can't join those markets without removing that program rate. So we want Iraq to have a country on supply and demand on their currency. Okay. So, and that will get them back into the emerging markets and to the world markets. Baghdad Chamber of Commerce to the Jordanian delegation, raising the entry visa for Iraqi traders will increase investment opportunities. So more deals there with Jordan, and we know the Jordanian dinar. So it's just making more sense on that. The Iraqi Trade Bank is awarded the best commercial bank in Iraq for 2019. 2019 just started, so it must have been an award from 2018 just given in 2019. Let's see here. It says the dollar is rising as investors prepare for market volatility and the U.S. Central meeting. Okay, what is the U.S. Central meeting? It says the dollar says investors bought the dollar and prepared for more volatility ahead of U.S.-China trade talks and the Federal Reserve's monetary policy decision. Oh wow! It says investors are focused on a U.S. Central Bank meeting scheduled for Wednesday, as policymakers are expected to hint at a truce in the monetary tightening cycle. Okay, and recognition of the growing risk of the U.S. economy, the U.S. currency, which has fallen 1% since late December, is likely to have a negative impact after it received support from a four-fold increase in the U.S. central interest rates in 2018. Okay, so there you have it. All right, so things are, the stock market could start to surge high, like Princess Bola is said in her video in February. The stock markets could start surging upwards toward 30,000, and the dollar will start to fall. And then as soon as the impeachment talks go loud and clear and all over the media as an agenda, of course, because all the media has to be a part of it, then it will reverse. The markets will then start coming down fast, and the dollar will start going up very high, right? And then that will literally choke out the emerging markets and force countries to revalue. So let's see if that plays out that way. We're all, at the end of the day, it's all guesses and just opinions of ours. Nothing in fact, on that. But that's what God told Benny, right? That the impeachment will crash the markets, and that'll be the financial crash of the markets. and the dollar will rise really high, and it will force the emerging markets like Iraq and them to revalue to compete against the dollar. And at that, maybe at the same time frame, that we're going to see the prophetic boom as well happen in that time frame. So could be the case, might not be. I don't know. Maybe things are going to be switched up. Every time you talk on internet, people can then take it back, and then things can change. We all know that. That's why we're still here waiting for Iraq, because the elites have changed things up since 2015, 16, 17, but because of what we've said on the internet, they like to then they go back and then they change things up. And we've seen a lot of those changes. And sometimes they change things up just to try to make the people that are speaking online look bad, right? You got a lot of YouTubers that speak about things, and the elites will change it up to make it look like the YouTubers don't know what they're talking about, but actually they changed it up because they heard what the YouTubers said, right? So I think people are understanding that now. In the beginning, people would get roasted for saying things, and then it wouldn't happen. But then you can now that's not the case anymore. A lot of times people see things, they hear things, and they're like, okay, that didn't happen that way, but we know why it didn't happen that way. So people are now saying the why, right? We know why it didn't happen that way because the elites changed it up. They recoded it, and they put it over here, or they hid it here, or they did that because they heard about it, right? So we know that now. But before, in the past, people would get we would get bashed for saying things, and it didn't happen because the elites would switch it or change it. But now people are waking up to realize that the elites can listen in. They have informants that listen in to YouTubers, and that they can change things, and then we can see them change it, and then we can tell you why exactly how they changed it and things like that. And I've done that a couple of times here as well, and telling you guys one thing, and then they'll go in and they'll change it, or they'll change the event or outcomes and things like that, and then we have to explain why. Or we'll catch them in the act, right? We will catch them in the act, and then they have literally no choice but to come out and say, yeah, we changed it, or I'm no longer going to be the prime minister like a body, right? And we catch them in the act and say, wait a minute, Abadi's not going to be the prime minister. They're setting this up. They're setting this up for failure. The Dinar community, remember that? They're setting us up. Abadi's not going to be the prime minister, guys. And then we finally so they're changing it up because everybody was saying Abadi's going to be the prime minister, and then they change it up on us, and then we're catching them in the act. Like, no, Abadi's not going to be the prime minister. They're lying. It's a lie. It's false information, right? And Abadi's not going to be prime minister, and then boom, we can catch him in the act as well now. So it is what it is, and some of you guys believe in it. It doesn't matter how many times we get it right. Doesn't matter how many times you can see it for yourself, that there is an elite group of people out there that can literally dictate what the world events are and things like that, and it's all coded, and they have supercomputers that they put the codes in, and then these codes put out and then they create the events off the codes, and then with symbols and colors and pictures and movies and TV programs, commercials and whatever, comic books and things like that. If you don't believe in that, then that's what you want to live in a world by yourself. That's fine, okay? But we here in Eyes Open Media have seen 1,000 times of predictive program. They even have it called. They even call it predictive programming. They even have a term for what they do. That's how evil these people are, right? So these people, this is what they do, and we decode these things. And so this is what we do here on Eyes Open Media. Of course, I bring you guys the other videos of people, preaching and teaching and talking about godly stuff and things like that. But on my videos and Benny's videos, we bring the decodings, we bring the elite stuff, and we bring the information. Okay, so it's a balance on this channel with the godly stuff as well, and then this stuff that we bring, which is also teaching people how to think outside the box and not go with the 99%, but be part of that 1%, but be on the good side of that 1%, right? Because there's the 1%ers, and many of them are evil. and fallen angels, satanic, whatever you want to call it, Baphomet head people. That's why they keep throwing up the goat signs and stuff everywhere. Everywhere you see on, especially on IG, everywhere you see, you've seen people throw up the goat. I just posted a video on IG of a grandpa. This guy's like 70, 80 years old, and he's throwing up gang signs and Illuminati signs in school. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is everywhere. And so we want to be at 1%, but on the godly side, okay? And so it is what it is. Talk to you guys later. Salute. You can't comment here on this channel, but you can comment on Currency 365 because I'm going to talk a little bit about it over there. What do you think about Sadr and his positioning with removing, well, my position, because he literally took it from me, because I said this exactly, that this is what he should do if he can't pass Fayad. But put Fayad in there, but cancel him out by removing the central bank governor and lifting the value and breaking the system at the same time. The corrupt probably will not agree with that because they understand how much the money and the power of the central bank has for them and their benefit. So I'm not sure they're going to go with it or not. But we'll see. Let me know in the comment section on Currency 365. Once I do my my fiat video over there, we will talk a little bit about that and some other things. Peace out. God bless. Eyes open. Bye.